Good morning, everyone. May you all have a great, informative day today. Today, we shall learn a new lesson. Lesson number 1.5 from Class 9th. The Necklace by Guyde Maupassant or Guyde Maupassant. Let me give you a brief about the author. Guyde Maupassant was 19th century French author. He is remembered as a master of short story form. In this chapter, we are going to meet Mathilde Loisel, a middle class girl who desperately wishes to be wealthy. This desperation pushes her and her husband to poverty. At the end of the story, we learn the morale that we should always try to be satisfied and happy with what we have rather than trying to acquire more and more. Let's begin. Before going to the story, let's do the warm up. Talking about yourself. Write a few lines about yourself, your name, appearance, family, the place where you live, your school, your friends, neighbors, relatives, your likes, dislikes, hobbies, what you are good at, etc. Now create an imaginary persona for yourself. It can be quite different from your real self, or you may choose a fictional character, a character from a novel story, etc. Write a few lines about this imaginary persona and introduce yourself in that role. We have two columns here. The first column reads real self, whereas the other column reads imaginary persona. Here I can write, I am a girl. I have friends. And so on. I have neighbors. My relatives are so and so is my cousin. I like singing. I like dancing. I like climbing trees. I'm good at writing. I'm good at singing. I'm good at dancing, and so on. What can be an imaginary persona? In my imagination, I would like to be a superwoman, a woman who can fly. I would like to rescue people. Or I can say I am a superwoman, I am having an ability of flying, I have superpower, I am tall, beautiful, I fly from one building to another, I rescue people, and so on. You can fill in these blanks according to your imagination. Once you are done doing that, we'll go to the next. My dream possessions. What is this dream possession? Here, what do you want to acquire in your life? Maybe you like to have a car, maybe a mobile phone, or maybe a gadget. If suppose you are having one of these, what are you going to do with that? Whether you like to share, if you have your favorite gadget, will you share it with your friends? Maybe yes or maybe no. If you ask me, yes, I will share it with my close friends and family. And what you would do to get it? Maybe I'll work very hard and make enough money to buy it. And why do you want it so much? I want it because it makes me very, very happy. How would you use it? I will use it with very care and responsibility. What its appearance should be? It will be a glossy black or maybe purple, because purple is my favorite color. What it should be used for? Okay, if I love a car, if my possession is a car, I will use it to drive to my favorite destination. Or if it is a gadget, I'll use it for multi-purpose according to its capability. Where you saw it first? Okay, I saw it in a movie when I was a child. This is all about me. What will be your dream possession? You have to fill in this. Imagine what you want in your future and read this question and answer it accordingly. Here begins the story. The Necklace, Part 1. Mathilde was a pretty and charming girl, born as if by an error of fate into a family of clerks. She had no means of becoming known, understood, loved, or be wedded to an aristocrat. So she let herself be married to a minor officer at the Ministry of Education. Here there is a beautiful girl. Her name is Mathilde. She thinks that she is born to a family by mistake. Because she is pretty, she thinks she should be born to a rich family. But her family is a family of clerk, and she wanted to marry a member of a royal family. Here, aristocrat, that means a member of a royal family. But she was unhappily married to a minor officer, and that officer was working in the Ministry of Education. She dressed plainly because she had never been able to afford anything better. She suffered endlessly, feeling she was entitled to all the luxury of life. She suffered because of her shabby, poorly furnished house. All these things that another woman of her class would not even have noticed dominated her and made her resentful. She dreamt of a great palatial mansion with vast rooms and inviting smaller rooms, perfumed for afternoon chat with close friends. She always dressed very plainly. She thought she should deserve better. And she was feeling so bad. She was mentally traumatized. She was sad from inside because she wanted a luxury life, a big house, a beautiful furniture, everything better, high class. Okay, she thought her house is not good, her furniture are not good. And she saw maybe her classmates, maybe her friends. Okay, they were having rich life, rich family, they married to rich people, and she felt sad after looking at them. She wanted a big palace, she wanted a room, a big room where she can invite her friends for a chat. Yet she had no rich dresses, no jewels, nothing, and these were the only things she loved. She wanted so much to charm, to envy, to be sought after. So, what she thought, she only loved jewelry, she loved richness. She wanted big things in her life, lot of gold, diamonds, beautiful dresses, but she didn't have. She wanted these things are giving her happiness, and she always wanted to go behind all the richness. She had a rich friend, a former classmate or a schoolmate at the convent, from she avoided visiting because afterwards she would weep with regret, despair, and misery. She was having a schoolmate, and that schoolmate was quite rich. Whenever she used to visit her, she was having a lavish house, lavish clothes, jewelries, and after returning from the visit, she used to feel sad, she used to feel jealous, she used to envy. Why don't I have all this? So she always tried avoiding meeting her friend. One evening, her husband came home with an air of trump, holding a large envelope in her hand. In his hand, "Look," he said, "here's something for you." One day, her husband came home. He was holding an envelope and he was so much happy. He thought it is a great achievement. So he thought his wife will be happy too. And he told his wife, "Look what I have." She tore open the paper and drew out the card on which was printed the words. So she opened the envelope and to see what was written in it. The Ministry of Education and Madam George Rampant require the pleasure of Mr. and Madam Loisel Company at the Ministry on the evening of Monday, January 18. This was an invitation. There was a party. Ministry of Education was holding this party and Mr. and Mrs. Loisel were invited. Indeed of being delighted, as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation on the table resentfully and muttered, "What do you want me to do with it? And what do you expect me to wear if I go?" Then her husband thought she'll be happy, but she just threw that invitation card on the table and said, "What do you want me to do with it? And what do you expect me to wear?" and he was confused. He didn't know what to do, what to react. He hasn't thought of that. He stammered, "Why the dress you go to the theatre in? It seems very nice to me." Then husband, he was so confused. He didn't know why Mathilde was so upset. He thought she'll be fine, she'll be happy. But it didn't work. Then he inquired. They usually used to visit the theatre and she used to wear a nice dress. He said, "Maybe that theatre dress, it looks nice to me." He stopped, stunned, distressed, to see his wife crying. He shuddered. "What's the matter? Let's see, Mathilde. How much would a suitable dress cost?" He was upset. He was shocked. He was in tension. He didn't know what to say. Then later he tried to ask her another question. "To tell me, how much will a new dress cost?" She thought for a moment, computing the cost and also wondering what amount she would ask for without an immediate refusal. At last she answered hesitantly, "I don't know exactly, but I think I would do it with the 400 francs. Here francs is French money." So she started computing. She started thinking how much it will cost and what should I ask. I should not ask huge amount. If I ask, he will say no. So she was not sure whether her husband is going to give that amount. But then she made a try and she said, "Maybe 400. He turned a little pale because he had been saving that exact amount to buy a gun for a hunting summer in the country near Nantes with a few friends. However, he said, "Very well, I can give you 400 francs, but try and get a really beautiful dress." So she asked him to give 400 francs for her dress, and he was so upset. Pale, he was upset because this was the exact amount he was having, and he saved it to buy a gun for hunting in summer in a city, in a near place called Nantes. Nantes is a place in France. So he decided he will go out with his friends for hunting. But now his beautiful wife needs a dress. Then he said he sacrificed that purchase and he was ready and he told, "Okay, I'll give you 400 francs, but you must buy a beautiful dress." The day of the party drew near, and Madame Loisel seemed sad, restless, anxious, though her dress was ready. Now days are coming closer by, but still Madame Mathilde, she's not happy. She's very anxious. So one evening her husband asked her, "What's the matter? Why you are acting so strange from last 3 days? What's wrong with you? Why you are acting so weird?" And she replied that, "I'm upset. I have a dress though, but I don't have a jewel. I don't have a single stone to wear. How do I go to a party? It's better I won't. I dropped the idea of going to a party." Then husband suggested, "You can wear flowers. These days they are in fashion." She was not convinced. She was not convinced with husband's idea. So next day she thought she'll go to a friend's house. So she went to her friend's house and she explained her distress. She explained her sad story. Then her friend, Fostry, Madame Fostry, she went to her wardrobe. Her wardrobe was having a mirror. Okay, she opened her wardrobe and took out a large box. In that box, there were many jewels. And she asked her friend, Mathilde, "Dear, you can try." And Mathilde started trying bracelet, a pearl necklace, and so on. But she kept asking, "Do you have?" Mathilde kept continuously asking her friend, Madame Forrester. She kept asking, "You have nothing else? Do you have anything else to show me?" Then her friend replied, "Why? Why you ask so?" "Yes, I have, but I don't know what you exactly like." Suddenly, she discovered in a black stained box a superb diamond necklace on her heart, and her heart began to beat with uncontrolled desire. Her hands trembled as she took it. She fastened it around her neck and stood lost in her happiness, in her ecstasy. She, she was so happy she looked at herself. Suddenly, she saw a black stained box, okay, a old box, and in that box she saw a diamond necklace. Once she saw the diamond necklace, it was so beautiful. She took it. She fastened around her neck. That means she wore it, and she was so happy. She lost in herself. She considered herself to look so beautiful. She started imagining the day of the party. She'll be the most beautiful woman in that party. Then she was not comfortable, like in an unusual voice or a little bit unsure voice. Anxiously, she asked, "Would you lend me this? Will you please give me? Can I borrow this? Just this one?" Then her friend said, "Yes, of course you may." She threw her hands around her friend's neck rapturously, then fled with her treasure. Then she was so happy when her friend said yes. She just hugged her friend and took that necklace, the treasure, and went back to her house. The day of the party arrived. Madame Loisel was successful. Her intention was to look beautiful, to look elegant. She was smiling, she was happy, she was full of joy. In the party, she danced with passionately, wildly, forgetting everything. She was successful. Okay, her beauty was a talk of an hour. Everybody appreciated her beauty. She was in the cloud of happiness. She was on seventh cloud. She was so happy. Mathilde and her husband left at 4 o'clock in the morning. So they were so happy the party got over, and then they left at 4 o'clock. But they couldn't find any cab, they couldn't find any auto, which we call in India. They couldn't find any cab. So they had to walk. They walked towards Seine. Seine is an area where there is a fishing net. You can call it as a fisherman's area. And there they found an auto. They found a cab. And that cab, it dropped them to their door. That is Rue de Matthias or Rue de Matthias, where they lived. And it was a sad thing that the party over. So much things she did to look pretty, and the day came to an end. So finally, she went in front of her mirror to look at herself for beauty for the final time, for a final look. Then, in her glory, she went in front of the mirror, but suddenly she uttered a cry. She was so much shocked. She started checking around her neck, and there was no necklace. She had lost it. And her husband came up and asked, "What's the matter? What happened? Why are you screaming?" Then she turned towards her husband in a panic stricken. She was like so much shaken. She was so much in fear. Then she said, I no longer have the Madame Forrester necklace. And her husband was in a shock, distraught, and he didn't know what to say. What? It is impossible. She has lost a necklace. With this, we come to an end of part 1. Part 1 of this chapter. I hope you have understood part 1. I shall soon come up with part 2 explanation in coming video. I request you to kindly subscribe to my channel. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you and have a great day.